and American veterans encouraging American students. Please join us every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW.
Now on the air in Kansas City, the Cheryl Underwood Show.
We are proud to be part of the KUAW.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? This is Lyne't with the Lyne't Gray Show here on KUAW. Mr. Walker said, wait a minute, where you at? At least y'all know I'm here. This is your Lyne't Gray Show here on KUAW. Today is Tuesday, January 12th, 2021, y'all. 2021. Let's make it fun. You are listening to the Lyne't Gray Show here on KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, Kansas City's global community radio station. You're most likely listening to the Lyne't Gray Show on KUAW-radio here on Facebook, but we're also broadcasting live on Twitter, YouTube, TuneIn, Periscope, and Instagram. Oh, I got it. I think I got them all. I think I did, finally. Our email, just in case you want to send an email. Also, if you're interested in doing a show, you can send an email to kuaw985@gmail.com. Please don't inbox me. I keep getting people inboxing me saying, Lyne't, I want to do a show on KUAW. I don't make those decisions. I'm just part of the KUAW family. KUAW985@gmail.com. Our telephone number here, and I love callers. You can call in this week for your any questions, because we're going to have a really good topic today. Our telephone number is 816-599-6893. Now you can, if you don't have social media, if you I don't know anyone who doesn't use YouTube, but if you don't have the other social medias, or you don't use YouTube, you can go to our webpage and view our shows at kuaw.org. Excuse me, y'all know I'm a hairstylist, so this is annoying me. Let me get this out the way. kuaw.org. And it's just gonna have to be. I call myself not doing nothing to my hair so I can make it thick like an afro, because my hair won't thicken up, so it just does whatever it wants to once it thick up. Okay, and you could, like I said, you can view our webpage, kuaw.org, and that's where you get to see our shows. Also, we have an ongoing station fundraiser, and as you saw at the beginning of the show, you couldn't see me. Why? Because we've done upgrades to our station. You are able to now see a background behind us, whereas before, I don't know, I forgot what was behind us. We've had these upgrades for so long. You have, windows, and you have lights. We now have lights where we're bright enough where you can see us. And we have computer monitors and systems and cameras and, mics and mic covers. We want to thank the Music and More Foundation for the sanitizing mic covers, so that we don't have to worry about the spread of COVID, which our hosts don't have COVID, thank God. But this keeps everything sanitary. So we want to thank Terrence Williams from the Music and More Foundation for donating the mic covers. Today, I haven't gotten a response from my son, George Fuller for the People. We have a lot to discuss. The first thing I want to say is, and I will always say this about the Capitol, the issue that happened at the Capitol. We have to learn, we were just discussing this, we have to learn to stop jumping at the words of people who ain't gonna do the time for us. Say it again. Because it's not just grab them who suggested some people do some dumb things. There was a forum, and at the forum with Black people, several Black well-known artists were suggesting Black people do dumb stuff. And one of our artists, Life Jennings, who did time in prison, was saying, hey, whoa, wait a minute. Y'all, we talking about real prison time. And so that's where I want our people to begin to, not just our people, but all people, use your own mind. Think for yourself. Don't let anyone convince you or encourage you to do something stupid. People have lost their livelihoods for going to the state capitol and becoming instant terrorists. That was terrorism. I don't care what anyone says. That was terrorism. When you break into a place and they got guns drawn on you. I mean, who is not intimidated by guns? Terrorists. You know what? Come on now. I'm telling the truth here. Who is not intimidated by weapons? Terrorists aren't intimidated by weapons. And so for someone to try to lay siege to the United States Capitol and don't care because they were quote unquote hyped up by someone else, that is a sign that you do not own your own mind. If someone decides that they want to do something to police officers, and I always say this to everyone, anyone who hates cops, I pray that your children grow older to be cops. And all the white people and cops who hate black folk, I hope you get black grandkids. What does that do? That levels the playing field, because then you begin to see each person as an individual. Because then it's, if your family member is a cop, it's, oh, my family member, they would never, this, that, and the other. That's some other cops. And if your grandchild is black, like dark-skinned black, it's, oh, well, they don't deserve to be treated like that. It's different if they can pass for white or they're of a lighter hue of black. You might still have your racist views. But if they come out and they can't pass, then all of a sudden everybody's wrong for the way that they think. You never understand until you walk a mile in a man's shoes. And so that's where I'm going with that. I want everyone to have their own mind, have your own. Man, y'all can't be running out here doing stuff these rich folk tell y'all to do, because the rich folk ain't doing it. Think about it. If you wanted it done, you got so much money, why wouldn't you do it? That would be my first question. You got a whole lot of money. You do it. You'll get away with it. I won't. Hopefully that's my son, George Fuller, with Fuller for the People, calling in with his, and George Fuller with Fuller for the People, he does political commentary. So this is right on time with what I'm talking about. Hey, son, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
How are you today?
Good evening.
Good evening. What? I know you got plenty to talk about. Tell us what you got talking about. If you have federal, state, and local, go on ahead and take your time and let us know.
Well, when it comes to federal, we have to make sure we take full awareness, and acknowledge that what we saw last week was an attack on and it was an attack and an act of treason on our federal government and our process and way of life.
Mm-hmm.
But we also saw desperate people losing their identity.
Absolutely.
They are so intertwined with this notion of support for a figure that they have lost themselves in all common sense and made decisions that they are going to now have to suffer consequences for.
Absolutely.
We also see within our nation the complete division and desensitization, the complete division of how they were treated when it considered a protest for a protest.
Absolutely. Yes, it was. So that was, yeah, because it would have been a whole bunch of dead bodies.
Absolutely, it wouldn't. I don't even think they would have been able to make it to the door, let alone the steps of the Capitol, if it was a movement that is considered to be, and I'm going to be frank, if it was the Black Lives Matter movement,
mm-hmm.
It would not have made it that far. And so we are trying to truly understand that this is a comparison. We must be deliberate and talk about race, because we knew that this was a racial issue and a racial topic. For my black people, I understand that you are weary. I understand you want to suggest that this is not our fight, this is not our problem, this has nothing to do with us, but I'm going to tell you that it absolutely has everything to do with us. It has the reasoning behind it is because they are now putting in place people of color to be representation and leadership and have that seniority and have authority, and that is messing up their belief in their system.
Yes.
So if you are weary, just understand we have to continue to fight, take time to rest, rebuild your strength, eat well, work out, and do things that are for you.
Absolutely.
Be willing to come back to this conversation because it's not over with. For those that at a state level, now and currently, presently, you get to see who you have elected. You get to see what they have been stating all along. You get to see their candid response and
Mm-hmm.
what you're going to do with that information. I hope that you are going to start changing that it makes an impact, because if they haven't said anything against this, then they're just as much as a co-conspirator as those that committed the act. And
Absolutely.
that means that they are treasonous and elected, and they are still going to be there until you do something about it.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Holly, I'm going to say this. You are on the docket of being dismissed from your position, and I hope that you understood it was because of your own actions and not that of anyone else. I
Absolutely.
I guess the last part for locally, I'm going to tell you to prepare yourself. Um, take up arms, defend your house, defend your family. Learn if you need to do self defense.
Go
Because at this
train at
point,
the there are plenty of weapons training facilities. You can use them. They take your money. They figure all money spends green. Go in there and get you some shooting lessons and learn how to shoot.
absolutely, because you are an American citizen and you have the right to bear arms.
Mm-hmm.
That Second Amendment has not been stripped for you. So go practice, learn to defend yourself. If you are looking for some self defense classes, I would tell you to look up my friend David Muhammad. He does classes out of Integrity Studios, Integrity Martial Arts. He also does virtual classes. He does in person classes too. Go ahead and take your opportunity to get some classes in you. And there's other programs. I know there's a boxing gym on Prospect. I can't think of the name of it. Take up that advantage to go and train yourself how to make sure you take care of yourself physically, but also be prepared just in case. And I'm telling you to prepare yourself, because those people that attacked our capital declared civil war.
Yeah,
And that was
absolutely.
not a notion that we should be letting go.
And here's the thing, and I want to say this while you're on the phone. It simply just takes letting some people know that you have zero problems with defending yourself till death, because some people are afraid to die. And so my dad was always taught me, you never let someone take you to a second location when it comes to kidnapping. And if someone pulls a gun on you, you make them use it, because anything less is suicide. And so I want to share that with our black people. They've taught us to cower down and bow down to people and let them take us to second locations and beg for our lives, even if you're going to get shot anyway. So at this point, I'm just giving y'all a bit of hood sense, put it like that, because in the hood, that's why there's so many murders, because people don't back down, honestly, for real. But at least they didn't just give their life up. Somebody had to take it. And so that's
Yeah,
what seriously, they're not gonna give it to you. You got to sneak up on them and take it, for real. And so
I would
that's
say freedom is not won by you caving in; it's won by you fighting.
it's one from fighting, and it's not even one from fighting. It's one from standing your ground. You don't have to fight. I had an incident in a truck stop, and I had to clearly let it be known when they said, "I wonder how Black Lives Matter feel." I didn't even know the terrorism was going on in the Capitol. I didn't, because I was driving down the street, and then I get to a truck stop, in good old racist Missouri, the state of Missouri here in Missouri. And they get to talking about it, and one man looked at me and said, "I wonder how Black Lives Matters feel," while he's looking at me. And everybody else around him and in the store starts laughing, and I let him know, well, I feel that it's good for all of us to make it home. Play with your mama, don't play with me, because I'll real life kill you. Then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh no, wait, hey, what's going on? No. Y'all didn't stop him from saying what he said. So now you just put me on the defense. You make me feel like you're going to do something to me. And I'm the only Black person in here. So now I have to put myself in a position to defend myself and take you out first. And see, once they received that response from me, then all of a sudden it's calm down. It's not that serious. What's going on? So that's what I'm telling y'all is, but I tell people I ain't never scared. I just got that in me. I'm not never scared, but I need everyone to understand. And another thing is, Don't assume all white people are the white people who tried to lay siege to the Capitol either.
Absolutely.
Because I have
Don't-
seen some comments online, son, that are just, you like, dude, that ain't everybody. Come on now. Now you sound like the folks who don't like the Black Lives Matter people. Come on. Really?
Don't take up the mantle that they trying to put you on.
Yeah.
Because that's the same thing. They truly desire for you to start looking at race, being able to find yourself in prejudice and bigotry. They want you to do the same things because they're laying the framework so that they can feel justified in the acts of terror that they're going to continue to do.
Absolutely.
Because they brought nooses.
Yeah.
They didn't just bring guns; they brought nooses.
And
So
you know what? And here's the thing: they don't bring nooses unless they plan to use them. They don't bring nooses to scare people. The one thing you all have to realize is when you're dealing with a white supremacist group of people, the nooses are not bought for fear. The nooses are bought to actually use them. And remember, you have a group of people who literally stormed the Capitol and didn't care that guns were drawn against them. Didn't care that it was a rumor that the National Guard was going to be there. They were ready to die. And so my thing is, number one, always be alert. Always be alert. Don't, as I hate to use our kind of hood sayings, but I don't know my son's going to give y'all the educated version. I'm going to just give y'all the street version. Don't be caught with your drawers down. Give him the educated version of that, son.
I'll say don't be unprepared, and in my street versions, don't be caught slacking.
Absolutely. Always be prepared. Always be prepared. And just be aware of your surroundings. Just literally be aware of your surroundings. You have to definitely be aware of your surroundings, because if you're not, you are setting it up for yourself to, in a sense, be, even if somebody just wants to sucker punch you and not even like kill you or nothing, they just want to hit you upside the back of the head or kick you in the butt. Be aware of your surroundings, y'all. Just be aware of your surroundings. Don't get involved in the mob mentality. I will say this, and someone else posted it on Facebook. Now you all can see how the U.S. land was stolen. You all can see how people were kidnapped and terrorized and turned into hostages for years. And people say, why didn't the slaves just free themselves? Now imagine if that group of people had weapons and they were going in to subdue the people in the Capitol. There is nothing that would have stood between them and their goals. And so now you all understand, and hopefully this is another thing that I've said and I'm going to keep saying. This type of racism didn't just start. I've been a truck driver this month for 20 years. The first time ever that I went to work every single day and was not called an N-word or N-word B or an N-word C was in 2020. And I think that's because so many people had to look up. It hasn't happened to me in 2021 either. And I think it's because so many people had to look up, and everyone is facing death. A lot of the racist people are facing people in their family who are dying in the hospital. And life after death has become real to a lot of people. So don't let someone get it in your head that grab them started this movement. Because I promise you, I've had grown men stand in my truck and tell me, get inside of my trailer and tell me they have places on their farm where they'll never find my body. And I've had to tell them, you got to get out the trailer first. So this is nothing new. I always tell people this, and people hate to hear this. Y'all living the life I've been living for the last 20 years in the trucking industry. I hate to say it like this.
Don't let it fool you that it's still within every industry. I know it's in education.
I mean, but in trucking, they were in education, they got to do it a slick way. In trucking, they will plain up call you to your face and add a boy, call a girl, a B word or the C word after the N word. Like, it's like that is the name that my mother gave me. And they will literally stand in your face and dare you to do something. Like, this is the Confederate South and his name is Massa. And so I'm just telling y'all that it seems to be getting worse, but as Will Smith said, it's because now everything is filmed. But
I say there's no ignoring.
it's no.
There's no denial.
Yeah.
You cannot sugarcoat and say I don't see color.
Yeah.
We are now the times where you are looking. We were at the awakening, and now we're at the reflection. So they had to open their eyes, but what they're seeing right now is their own reflection of their identities that have been stolen,
Mm-hmm.
that have been now no longer shielded by the disbeliefs and the made-up stories that they have.
Right.
It is not about I'm a good person, I'm this, I'm that, I don't see colors. You absolutely do see colors.
You see color.
It is how you treat colors that you are trying to refute.
Absolutely.
So I've been writing. So another way to kind of follow me, I wrote an article on Medium. It's titled Gumption, Audacity, and Privilege.
Please give us the link to that. Give us the link. Look it up while you're talking, and then make sure you give us the link.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat, but it's located. I also put it on my profile, shared it. It's on my LinkedIn as well, so I put it on different sources. I will put it in the chat as well, but don't hesitate to read that. So I write my thoughts. I'm also going to start publishing those same thoughts in just general articles. If you see errors, that's me. I'm not perfect. But I wanted to make sure I put out my thoughts.
Put your thoughts out. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, but just to be frank, I'm looking at this. I just finished reading The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin, which has been influencing, and I don't see how something written in 1960 is so completely relevant here in 2021. But it talks about our fate is intertwined with the fate of America. And so when we are trying to say this is not our fight, this is not our problem, it is absolutely our problem, because at the end of the day, the fire that will come for reckoning, the roost that will be roosted, will be able to touch us just as much so. So make sure that you do yourself a favor and ensure you're not a casualty, and ensure that you defend those that you love dear, hold them close. Be willing to train them with self-defense.
Absolutely.
Be willing to arm yourself because you have that right as your Second Amendment right. And understand that the puppet or puppeteers that are playing this, they are still elected officials.
Yep.
And now you have the autonomy and the empowerment to change that. What are you going to do next is your action. So as my statements usually go, it's ask are they for you, or are they for the company, or are they just for the money?
Come on
and
now.
If they are not for you, it is time to make a change. Hashtag Fuller for the people.
Hashtag Fuller for the people. And you all look forward to George Fuller's next run for office. Everyone always say vote proactive, not reactive. What does that mean? That means begin to follow and look up the people and look up the open positions and open seats and the bills that are coming up and what they're doing in your federal, state, and local government. Know ahead of time, and then know who's running. When they announce that they're running, keep up with who signed up or registered to run for office and start looking those people up, because all kinfolk ain't skin folk, all skin folk ain't kinfolk either, black people. And we are beginning to see that. I'm just gonna call it out. We got a whole mayor in Kansas City who's corporate owned. He ain't for nobody but his pockets in the corporations that he works for. And I'm just gonna say it. He blocked me, so I don't care. But you know, it's not a.
I would say you got a lawyer that has been out and about in the grassroots working this, and they've been calling it the same thing. They calling the kettle what it is.
Yep.
And so I'm not. When people ask me what my thoughts were, I say he didn't pick a side, and I truly stand behind that. He has not picked a side. So I can't say that he's for me, and I can't say he's against me because he hasn't chosen.
I'm sorry, son. I didn't mean to cut you off. But hey, whoever bringing the money, that's who he for. Listen, I was his 3rd district constituent. I voted for him several times, and it ain't did nothing for me. I promise you it did nothing for us. The 2 3rd district at large and 3rd district city council person that we have right now is doing a whole lot more for the 3rd district than what he did while he was there. So anyway, son, Fuller for the people. George Fuller. It looks like Jorge. So we'll just call him Jorge. Jorje Fuller. You have anything else, son?
Thank you so much for allowing me to come on. I know I took up more than my 2 minutes.
No, you fine. You fine. I don't have a guest. My guest called in, they sick.
Well, I've been reading too much, so I can safely say I've been empowered. So if you all are looking for a book to pick up, The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. And then also I would tell you to pick up the Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Read The Fire Next Time, then go to Coates. You will see their styles are very similar. You can see Coates learn from
Baldwin
and emulate the style of Baldwin, but they are completely relevant to today's time and completely relevant of how to start holding those conversations with your children, coming from a male perspective. I want to say read Cast. I can't remember the name of the author.
Yeah, because I read Cast. Yeah.
But I'm getting ready to read it too, so that's on my list of getting read, because we are now in the midst of truly holding conversations with people that are wanting and eager and needing that information and needing from the perspective of those that had this separation.
Awesome. And please put those books in the comment section for anyone who may tune in later. And so that they can look up. And I thank you, son. You have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Talk to you next week, next Tuesday, when you call in with our federal, state, and local government information. I love you. You have a beautiful week.
Love you too. Thank you.
All righty. Take care. Bye-bye. So I'm going to go ahead and read questions. We have, hi, Miss Walker. And hey, sis, Christina Real McCoy. Now, y'all, I'm just going to do a shameless plug because Red Tail Ravenhawk, or on here as Christina Real McCoy, she is a tarot reader, and she is the only reader I let touch me. I promise you, she's the only one outside of family that I let read me. So, and people are like, that's the devil stuff. No, it ain't. They just prophets with cards. That's it. Hey, Janisha, she said, true that. And whenever we stand up, it's never that serious. And unfortunately, you're right. When we stand up for ourselves, it's always a, hey, what's going on here? All of a sudden, everybody pays attention to everything, but that's because the racism is so insidious in this country. You cannot change the USA. You cannot create anything different for our country without burning the entire thing down completely and eliminating all of the systems created by racism. And me, myself, personally, that is going to be a hard way to go. Everybody's going to have to go to another country and let it start back over, or whatever the case may be. But the United States, the racism is insidious in this country. It is based in every area, every economic, educational, any of that. It's all over. So when they see a black woman respond without fear, it's never that serious. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Because, and when I replied, I didn't know what they were talking about. I just felt the energy that said, basically, I'm better than her, or not even I'm better than her. Like, I felt this energy that they wanted to fight. I honestly I started looking around the store. I'm the type that if I feel threatened, I start looking around for weapons. I had my son cracking up, telling him how I used a bowling ball on somebody. He was like, Mama, you crazy. But when I feel threatened, everybody else feel threatened and get scared. I'm like, where's a weapon? What can be used as a weapon? You get what I'm saying? And so when my fight or flight kicks in, that means that there is something dangerous getting ready to happen. And so you right. You said, yes, when you from the hood or the military, you're always aware of your surroundings, but now all other black folk need to be. And you are exactly right, Janisha. There are some of us who have lived a very easy life. And I used to have conversations with some who would say, hey, you need to stop all this racism talk. Racism doesn't exist anymore. I literally had a conversation with a black man in 2012 who told me racism doesn't exist anymore. That is pre 2000, late 1990s. I could not believe that a black man had said that. And then I can't even say it was because he was married to a white woman, because I have black family members who are married to white women and they would never make that statement. So I wonder how he feels about what's going on now. I'm pretty sure he's heard, it all. And Janisha, I don't know what corporations, but sometimes, let me see what else you got. A bowling ball, yes, ma'am, a bowling ball. My son was kind of looking kind of terrified and amused at the same time. But here's the thing: when you have politicians, and this is what I need everyone to know, there's this thing called corporate personhood. And corporate personhood allows corporations to act and behave and move as if they are individual citizens. These were laws that were passed and were given to us by Capitol Hill. So the corporations use lobbyists, and their lobbyists, the reason why they say, I'm not going to donate to these people who stood up to this thing anymore, is because they're lobbyists. They weren't donating for real. They were, the lobbyists were making sure that they were buying votes under the guise that they were donating money to campaigns. And so that's what and I tell people, federal, state, and local, when you see any politician that is doing things that go against what the people they represent, their best interest, when you see a politician that goes against the best interest of the people who voted them into office, that the corporations, there are several corporations who either do PACs, or as they call them, super PACs, or they straight up use lobbyists to give the politicians things they want. So let's say that they want to ensure that Congress impeaches Trump. So what they'll do is they'll send their lobbyists and say, hey, that program you wanted to start in your community that adds 300 pairs of free ice skates to the young people in your community who want to learn how to play hockey or ice skate? Well, we've got a donor who's willing to do that for you if you simply vote to impeach Trump. Or they'll go to a black politician and say, hey, that program that you wanted to start in the community that blah, 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 blah. Well, we've got a donor who will donate to you the money to do this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Now, once they donate the money, it's not their problem or whatever what the person does with it. So the person can decide that, okay, yeah, I'm going to buy 200 ice skates and keep the rest for me. Or they'll donate like $30,000 for 200 pair of ice skates. I don't know how much ice skates are, but I'm pretty sure it don't come to $30,000. You get what I'm saying? They'll donate $50,000 for 300 pair of ice skates. Well, then you buy them ice skates and pocket the rest of the money. That's how corporate personhood works, and that's how they buy the votes. That's how they wound up with the power. So this is what I'm going to say. The show is about the black family dynamics because we have to address some things. But before we go to break, I'm going to discuss this. This is the one thing that people need to understand. If you are not actively keeping up with your politicians, only your elected officials, if we all did our part and looked up our address and looked up everybody who's elected under our address by us, under our address only, we could hold the Capitol Hill and local and federal, state, and local politicians accountable, because there's only a streamlined number of people who you vote for. You get what I'm saying? There's only a streamlined number of people that you vote for. The problem is when people in Kansas City is worried about Nancy Pelosi. People in Kansas City need to be worried about the former prosecutor, I forgot her name, and the former pastor. I'm not gonna mention either one of them because I don't want nobody voting for them. I'm glad her name didn't come up to me, because then I won't mention his name. But it's for us to look at the people that we vote for. Look up your address and look and see who is in your situation. So we're going to go ahead and go to break for 2 minutes. This time went by quick, but we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the Black family dynamics. The first thing we're going to talk about is keeping a strong parental relationship going and raising healthy children and parental control when you ain't got your together. See y'all back in 2 minutes.
All right, you're listening to KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. We don't only bring you videos on Facebook and YouTube, but listen to our audio only, where you'll get shows like Cheryl Underwood and Blues Time in the City. You can pick us up at www.kuaw.org or go to the TuneIn app and search KUAW. Listen to us. We're on 24 hours a day. That's KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. And this is what you hear every day from noon till 2. Don't miss the Cheryl Underwood Show.
Where you at, baby?
Sure, I'm at my first alma mater, Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia. CAU was the first HBCU in the southern United States. Shout out to our affiliate ATL Talks in Atlanta, Georgia, and everyone getting out there to vote for those 2 Senate seats. We love you.
That's what I'm talking.
You are listening to KUAW Radio, home of the all-new Jamal Bakes Show, and I'm Jamal Bakes, and thank you so very much for listening to the station bringing you talk, news, entertainment that you won't get anywhere else. KUAW, in, of, and about our community.
This is the last weekend before Christmas, and on Blues Time in the City, we're wrapping up our All Christmas Blues and Southern Soul program.
Gene Bailey.
We have a very special guest that you will definitely enjoy, and we'll hear from some of the artists that sing the Christmas blues. Join me, Gene Bailey, for Blues Time in the City this weekend before Christmas, right here.
This is comedian Janelle Banks, and you are listening to KUAW, Kansas City.
KUAW listeners, this is Carl Boyd for Wave Your Grades, coming to you every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW. This program features American students striving for excellence in honor of our troops and American veterans, encouraging American students. Please join us every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW.
Now on the air in Kansas City, the Cheryl Underwood Show.
We are proud to be part of the KUAW family.
The Cheryl Underwood Show. Weekdays Monday through Friday at 12 noon. KUAW around the world on KUAW.org.
Todd Tribbett, we gonna be all right here on the Jamal Bakes Show. I'm your brother in Christ, Jamal Bakes. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me, fam, for another weekend, all right? We've got a big show for you, man. As always, the Rose Show Live will be here with her Faith Move next. And we talked to my man, the Laugh Therapist, later on in the show. We've got music on the way from Doe. We've got Corinne Hawthorne, Keandra Lockett, brand new William McDowell. Cannot wait to share that one with you as well, all right?
I love my introduction, y'all. Thanks to my son, D. You know what? I just figured out what I was supposed to be doing at 5 o'clock today. I was supposed to be doing your hair, son. This is a public apology. Because I was like, it's supposed to be something I'm supposed to be doing at 5 o'clock. I was supposed to go do my son's hair. Oh, well, sorry, son. I will definitely get you when I come back. And please call me. George, text him and tell him to call me and remind me, because I'm busy all the time. But anyway, now we're going to discuss the dynamics of the Black family. We have to get it together. Yes, we are focusing on what's going on around us, but at some point in time, we have to learn how to co-parent. Mothers. We have to learn to stop. And I've never had a problem with doing this, but many mothers do. mistreat the children because of the dad, the relationship with the dad, what the dad did, who he did, whatever the case may be. And you looking at that child and that child look like the dad, or maybe the child don't even look like the dad, but you just mad at the daddy. We got to stop that. We do have a system now. I don't know the actual numbers because I haven't done them, I think, since 2018 in November, but we have to look at the numbers of single mothers. And women got really upset at me at the comment that I made when I said we are responsible for the broken people that are being put out into society. Because if you are a single mother, yes, I know that trust me, I don't get child support or nothing. His wife told me I won't get a thin red dime from kids that he gave birth to, planned and gave birth to in marriage. And she's made that promise, and it's a promise. But I do not allow my sons to see that part. That is none of their business. I simply tell them, you have to tell me things in advance so mom can work it into her budget so I can make it happen. You don't hear me saying, y'all daddy don't do that. I don't do that. I make jokes. We make light of it. I'll be like, now you already know I ain't getting out a thin red dime from him. They done made that promise. They gonna keep it. So work with a sister. Give me at least 30 days. When you find out about it, you let me know. And then you put it in my calendar. The pain that is being spewed on our children because we as adults couldn't get along after we teach our children to get along with others, it's not fair, and it's creating a race of broken people. I'm going to say it again. The teachers are the ones who, Tyrone Gathers Jr. is watching. He's a teacher, should be an administrator, a high up administrator, but he can tell you that the brokenness that it causes when a parent, he's witnesses it daily for years. He was my son's teacher when my son is now a college sophomore, and he was my son's, I think, third grade teacher, and they are middle school teacher, but they witnessed this brokenness. He was middle school. They witnessed this brokenness in children daily. And the children don't know what's going on with them. So then, now that your child is no longer young and they're an adult, and you've had this type of relationship with them for the longest, and they've let you be this type of abusive, because it is abuse, then the child wants to come to you and share with you the amazing things that are happening in their life, but you having a hard and soiled heart against your child all of these years, the first thing you do is tear down their joy. This has to stop. I have two parents that don't fool with me. It don't bother me. I'm 45. I got a whole set of kids and some grandkids. But imagine what life is like for the 20-year-olds or for those who are starting families and marriages. Imagine the brokenness that we are passing down. And then we complain. And I always tell people think I'm joking about the dating stories. I walk away because I know how they got that way. And I'm not going to deal with it because there's nothing I can do to change a grown man. And no matter how much he loves me in the beginning, his true ways are going to come back out. And I just don't want to deal with it unless he's done the work. We have so many broken people, and we are putting out so many more broken people because children don't wait. Time does not wait for children, y'all. Anyone who has children will tell you. Anyone who knew my children when they were babies are astonished to hear that they are grown, and I literally only have one child left. And he's 1 year from being declared an adult with the state of Missouri. Actually, 12 months away from being declared adult by the state of Missouri. So time waits for no one. And so what I want to discuss with the dynamics of the Black family is we're always going to have people who we fall in love with and we have children with, and things don't work out. So then what's the plan in your mind? Because you can't control the other person. What is your plan for ensuring that you raise healthy adults? Ensuring that you raise adults who are wise in their decisions, and ensuring that you raise adults who literally are not damaged. I have a damaged son, very damaged, and I take full responsibility for that. And I'm trying to do my work to help this child because he's an adult, but he's still my baby. And so, and he was raised in marriage, but that whole fiasco that was a marriage messed him up. And so that's what I want us to understand is we cannot move forward now. And I always tell people, some of your most brilliant people have mental health issues when it comes to artistry, when it comes to, science, technology, engineering, and math. Some of your more brilliant people have mental health issues, but how much more could they do if their mental health didn't get in the way? It's now 2021, and I've encouraged everyone for 2021 to walk in love and live your best life. And here's the one thing I've been telling everybody. You cannot get me to live in sorrow. You cannot get me to live in grief. None of that. Because why is there a possibility that somebody could catch COVID and the new strand of coronavirus, SARS-2, and pass away, and they didn't spend all this time being miserable? That was a waste of your days. And so in this, we have to begin to, and even if you don't know how to love yourself, how do you want, and I always tell mamas this, how would you feel if the person who you had children with and you're not with anymore, if their new spouse talked to your child the way you did? Or their new girlfriend, or the woman in their life talked to your child the way you talk to that child? So if that's the case, you need to change it. Feed your children on your good china. Let them eat. My grandmother taught me something right before she passed away, and I had just gotten married, and we walked into the house. And she was like, "Baby, sit down." And I was like, "Oh, Grandma, we ready to go in there and sit on the divan?" She said, "No, sit on this furniture." She said, "I bought this furniture brand spanking new, I think back in 1950 something. And here it was, 1999, and that furniture still looked brand new." And she said, "I did not make memories with my children on this furniture. This furniture, my children have grown old, and my grandkids, she had us trained, don't stop in her living room. You walk straight through that living room and you sit in that divan that sits at the dining room. And when you sit at the dining room table, that's only for eating. And then you clean it back up spotless, put everything back where it belongs, and put them chairs back underneath there." But in her years right before she passed away, this was literally like almost a year before she passed away, couple of months before she had a real bad stroke, she told me, "You sit on my couch." I was a newlywed woman. And me and her sat there and we talked, and my now former spouse and my uncle were talking, and my former spouse was like, "You'd have never known y'all had this whole conversation." I was telling him on the way home everything she was telling me. And she told me, "You buy that furniture and you let them kids sit on that furniture and you let them tear that furniture up because that's memories." She said, "Ain't no thing worth more than your child." And then she gave me a final warning. She said, "Don't ever," she said, "I hope this marriage lasts. But if it don't ever mistreat your kids because they remind you of their daddy or because they look like they daddy. I did that to your mama and I ruined our relationship. And because my mama did it to me." And so that's what I'm telling y'all. This thing goes deep, and the pain of the cutting went from my great grandmother to my grandmother. It then went from my grandmother to my mother. And my mother doesn't, and I can honestly say my mama just don't like me because of the situation that happened between her and her high school sweetheart. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Y'all just happen to make me on Valentine's Day. That's y'all fault. You get what I'm saying? That's y'all fault. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But for years, I thought it had something to do with me. And so we have to understand that. And even if we cannot get that resolve of that relationship with our parents, we don't carry that on to our children. Think about it. That's you standing there. I used to always tell, and y'all already know, I already told y'all how many kids I got with how many daddies. And I told each one of them, "You just a donor, because them is mine." You ain't never, when they decided they didn't want to do, you don't never have to do for my child, because that's mine. That's my baby. I'm grateful for that child. You don't never have to be. But don't come back around acting like you a super daddy, because these is my kids. My kids going to give it to you straight and your feelings going to get hurt. They going to still love you, but they going to give it to you straight. And so this is what the Black family dynamics. I had a phone call last night. And let's just say this person was super excited. They were so excited that I got fired up. And then I got a phone call this morning from the same person. And I said hello. And the phone was still, and I could feel the energy. And I said, what's wrong? Because I knew something was wrong. And it all came down to the parent stole the joy. And so I had to take the opportunity to build the joy back up in this person, because the joy was still there. But the pain of wanting a parent that just gung-ho for you, instead you get told off. And I told him, I've been there. You called the right person for that. I still love my mama. I love my mama. I will shoot somebody behind my mama. Don't play. But I understand some parents' mental illness that they've held in for so long. Women, it becomes mental illness when you hold a grudge against that daddy. That's a mental illness. You could play like you, and I'm going to tell you, you can never wear a strong Black woman or an independent Black woman tag if you holding grudges against the person that you got a child with, and you mistreating that child because of that. You're not strong. You as weak as they come. Because strong women protect their kids even from themselves. Ask me how I know. I have a son that looks like me and sounds just like his daddy. He laughs the way he talks. One day I hop up because I thought they had let the man in my house, and I go stand there and it's my baby. Now, y'all would have been like, what you doing up in here sounding like your daddy? I was like, hey, baby, give me kisses. Because that's mine. Y'all need to let this mess go. The reason why we as Black people can be disrespected by every walk of life in the U.S. and abroad is because of our situation where we want to harbor and carry hurt. And then we want to pass it on to generations and then say, you don't know why that kid act like that. Yeah, you do. I raised them better than that. No, you didn't. They showing you how you raised them. But I know I'm going to get a bunch of backlash, because I got a bunch of backlash before when I told the women, the mothers, the single mothers, it's your responsibility how these kids turn out. Because regardless if daddy want to do or not, you still got to raise a whole person. You still got to make them feel worthy. You still have to tell them that it ain't nothing wrong with them. Your daddy just selfish. If you got to say it like that. I told my kids, this is where your daddy want to be in his life. And so this has nothing to do with you. And he and I got married when he was entirely too young and didn't experience life. But that ain't no excuse, because should you get married young, you don't do this. But just know, this has nothing to do with you. You live your greatest life to your fullest potential. And watch him come back around when you're doing good. You know, we just have to, seriously, we have to keep it real, y'all. And I want to keep it lighthearted, but I want to put it in y'all's face that y'all got to stop. Because, I mean, this person that I talked to was on fire. And then it was like the whole entire world was snatched up from under him. And to hear a grown man shed tears because his mama, the main person who should be in the forefront. I promise y'all see how I am with all my kids. And Jock's the Joker, me and him gonna have it out because he too busy being cute. And he's supposed to be on the show on the 19th. But I support. You know them as mine. Even the bonuses. We got to stop this. It's not about you. Janisha, you said that's going to sting some folks. It got to. It got to. These children did not ask you not to go to the abortion clinic. Because I used to always tell my mama, your option was abortion, and you even told me a rich white woman wanted to take me and you wouldn't give me up. You should have. We cannot, Janisha said, wise words, things don't last as long as people. You can replace those things. My grandmother, absolutely, in her twilight of her life, she realized that she placed more value over things, and she made that memory with me sitting on her couch. Now that I do agree with it, it is the mom's responsibility to ensure the child grows up in the right way, even if the father is or isn't there, even more if the father isn't. That is my belief. That is mine too, because it's my job. Even if the dad walks away, and for the dads who the moms have walked away, but I've seen dads do amazing jobs. The ones who kept the wrong women out their life. And that's another story for another day. But men, just because you a single dad don't mean that you gone ahead and let some woman come in and dog your kids out. Because that's even worse. Because I have someone who's very close to me who I love dearly, and I'm not going to put him out there like that, but everybody who knows him knows that his daddy remarried, and that woman dogged him out to the point he was sleeping outside in high school because she didn't want him around because she wanted the man and his money. So men, y'all have to be wise about that decision as well. When the mother isn't around, it's a thing of, we have to decide. First off, decide what type of people you want your children to be when they grow up. Look at the people you don't like. Look at their situation. How'd they get like that? And then you don't even focus on what they are. You focus on making your children the best people they can be. How do you make your children the absolute best people they can be? Hello, Mike. How do you make your children the absolute best people they can be? You raise them in the best way that you can. And that does not mean buying them everything. Come on now, y'all. That don't mean buying them and providing them with everything. That means teaching them the value of $1. Oh, it's time for the show to go. I'm sorry, I'm still talking. Joy, love, peace, happiness, health, wealth, well-being, total enlightenment. This is the Lay Gray Show. I will see y'all next Tuesday. Y'all done got me preaching. I love y'all. I will see y'all next Tuesday. Hopefully my guests will be here. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, you're listening to KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. We don't only bring you videos on Facebook and YouTube, but listen to our audio only, where you'll get shows like Cheryl Underwood and Blues